Good afternoon, everyone. Today we have interesting panel about the audio publishing, especially in last 20 years. The audio content started to go in the top, starting with American market, followed by Europe and other countries, and recently in the last 5 or 7 years, starting here in the MENA region in Arabic. Today we will talk about the audio publishing from different perspective, the international and local, and as well from the association point of views. We have today Jessica from Yato App, Mr. Tariq Abu Alam, Chairman of Iqrali, and Mr. Miles Stephen, the International Expansion Director of RP Media, and Michel Koub, the head of the Audio Publishing Association. And now I will let them to introduce themselves. So we can start with Michel.
Hi there. I'm Michelle Cobb. I'm the Executive Director of the Audio Publishers Association in the US, and I'm a small independent audio publisher as well.
Afternoon, my name's Miles Stephensaw. I'm the Managing Director of RB Media International. RB Media are the world's largest audiobook publisher. We have over 70,000 titles active, and this year we'll publish about 8,500 new titles.
مساء الخير. أنا ممكن I can just introduce myself in Arabic and then we can continue in English. أنا طارق أبو علم. أنا رئيس مجلس إدارة شركة إقرألي. شركة إقرألي هي شركة كتب صوتية باللغة العربية متخصصة في اللغة العربية. شكرا.
And I'm Jessica Tarrant, and I'm Content Director at Yoto, which is a children's audio platform, but we also produce hardware. This is the Yoto player sitting next to me. And we're sort of a hybrid digital physical platform because although we sell digital downloads, they are via these NFC cards. So the cards interact with the player to allow children to listen to audio without a screen or a tablet.
Thank you. Okay. All regions right now, they have publishing or publisher association that advocate and support the publishers. So the question for you, Michelle, about how the Audio Publishers Association, I think it is the only audio publishing association in the world right now. How is advocate and support the publisher especially in the competitive markets? Like,
a big part of what we do is focus on research and networking. So we bring together publishers, narrators, producers to have conversations and to work together to move our industry forward. And one of the big things that we're doing this year is we're having the International Summit of Audio Publishers. So we're inviting people from all over the world who are just starting their audio journey because the US market is the most mature audio market that exists. And we're going to be talking a lot about data. It's most useful to our members when we can provide specific data and information that they can use in their choices about what to publish, how to publish. So we're going to bring those conversations together. And we're always trying to really just be that networking group, whether it be with other publishers or other people in the industry.
Okay, thank you. And Miles here about the RP Media as the largest audiobook publisher worldwide and always support the traditional publishers to publish their books as audio through you. From RP Media experience, what is the best strategies to expand in different markets that has different language as well? And as you mentioned, the British, Australian, and Americans different.
Yeah, just to explain a little bit more. So the business started in the US, so we publish in US English, British English, and also Australian English. In the last few years, we've also moved into Spanish, French, and German. When we're looking at a new language to publish into, as well as considering the overall sort of economic macro factors, the two key things we're looking at are the availability of content, both in terms of local content, locally originated content, and also potentially international content that's being translated into that language. And secondly, and equally as importantly, is what is the retail landscape like? Audiobook markets have been built partly through the activity of retailers, vendors. The US market has expanded rapidly off the back of a lot of activity by Audible, further propelled more recently by Spotify. So we're always considering what is the current state in terms of the retail market and what is the potential future state in terms of the players in that particular market. And then it's really a case of putting together a very cohesive blend of content that is produced in the most appropriate way using local narrators to ensure that we've got the accents right to deliver the content that's really going to be a rich experience for the consumers.
And do you see your opinion about the distribution that helps the different language to go? If right now the infrastructure of worldwide distribution for the language that RP Media work on, it helps in that?
Just explain a little bit more, sorry.
That distribution channel
Yeah.
that exists right now for the different language that RP Media publish, it exists and help you in order to increase revenue and so on?
Yeah, so there is a common thread in terms of vendors that are available in the markets where we do publish, again, notably Audible, but also Apple and Google. But as we look at other languages, obviously that landscape changes a little bit. And certainly with the Arabic market, as we look at that, obviously it's a different lineup of vendors that are active here, and a question in terms of who else will actually come into this market as well.
Come here to the MENA region and اقرأ لي app. اقرأ لي app specialized in Arabic audiobooks, and we all Arabs, but we all different in terms of the dialects and culture. So what's the advantage or difficulties that اقرأ لي facing right now in publishing audiobooks in different dialects for different cultures?
Yeah, I think the issue, I mean, we're lucky because we originated from Egypt. And as all Arabs know, I mean, the Egyptian dialect or the Egyptian way of narrating in Arabic is mostly understood all over the Arab world. So there is no problem in this, I would say. And sometimes also I would say that in many countries, from our research on the audiobooks, people like to hear things in Egyptian dialect because it's related in their minds to the movies and to the entertainment industry. So they're familiar with the dialect. Maybe the issue would be in the local content rather than the dialect or the narration. And this is where really the different country would need to see their own local content in addition to the overall national Arabic content, but they also need to see their local content available on the app to be able to penetrate the market in the right way.
So you see, for example, for the Egyptian content that consumed a lot in Saudi or in GCC or here in Emirates as well, right?
Yeah. The Egyptian content or any Arabic content that's nationwide acceptable within all the Arab countries is there, and to be narrated in Egyptian Arabic is okay.
Yeah.
But you still have to be, for example, here in the UAE and to have a serious presence in the market, you need to have UAE content available on the app and a lot of UAE content available.
I see. Okay. I met Jessica for first time a couple of hours ago, and she impressed me with their YouTube Play that really helps children and kids to spend more time outside the screens. So I would like to talk about the experience of Yoto and the feedback of parents when their kids listen for the audible content without using any screens.
Yeah, so like I said in my introduction, this is a Yoto player. We also have a smaller version of this hardware called the Yoto Mini. And it was really conceived of as a way for children to listen to audio without needing to go through their parents' phone or a tablet, which we know those parents in the room can be quite a distracting and all-consuming experience for children. As soon as they get access to a screen, they're kind of hooked in, they want to watch YouTube. So the idea was that, the Yoto player can create a really safe and secure place for children just to listen to the audio they want without a screen. And the cards that we produce are licensed from some of the biggest publishers and IP owners and labels in the world. So we license existing audiobook content and create these NFC-enabled cards. The product itself is inspired by the teachings of Maria Montessori, who really advocates the physical form factor for children to have a sort of cause and effect notion. So we're currently, our main markets are the UK, the US, and we're going to be launching in Australia later this summer. We're also in France. So the majority of our content at the moment is English language, as Miles was saying, but also considering the markets we're in UK English and US English. And in terms of the parental response, I think we're really seeing that parents are more than happy to have a Yoto player in their children's bedroom, in the way that they're quite resistant to having perhaps an Echo Dot or another smart speaker device that they perceive might be listening into their children. This doesn't have a microphone. It's an entirely secure device to have in a child's room. It also offers lots of additional benefits like a night light and a day-to-night clock. So we're really sort of trying to consider all the different things that parents need to sort of create healthy routines for their children in one device.
I think I should to buy some like this for my daughter Sophia, 4 years. Okay. So the NFC card as well, it is secured to keep the book outside of piracy, so no one can. Yeah.
Yes. So the technology is, like I say, an NFC chip, which downloads to the player when it's first inserted into the player and connected to Wi-Fi. So even if you pass a card to a friend who also has a Yoto player, it will remain in your library. So it's completely secure. And we've like I say, we work with all the major publishers in the English-speaking world, and we've managed to really establish ourselves as a viable partner for children's audio in the way that some of the other platforms, audio platforms, definitely sort of are amazing for adults. Audible and in your pocket on your smartphone is perfect, but there really was a sort of a lack of a children-focused solution. So we're just one of quite a few players emerging in the children's audio market. But growth has been really great over the past few years.
Sounds great. Okay. Regarding the piracy here, Michelle, how do you address the industry challenge, especially in the piracy and content environment?
So the biggest place for piracy of audiobooks today is actually YouTube. Audible has always done some digital rights management in a way that none of the other retailers have. But if you go onto YouTube and you listen to an audiobook, inevitably it starts with, "This is Audible." So someone has found a way to rip it and put it onto YouTube, and they are making money off that without the publisher making money. So we, as an association, are working with our lawyer and the Association of American Publishers to see and the Authors Guild, to all see how we can be fighting this, because YouTube unfortunately doesn't make it easy. You can go and find each individual title that is being pirated and ask them to take it down, but if you're a small publisher, that's a lot of work. For the larger publishers like Recorded Books, they have services that go and actually fight the piracy. So each individual publisher is trying to deal with it on their own, and we are looking to ourselves and other associations to see how we can come together and work on whether it be legislation or working directly with the retailers to try and prevent these problems. But it's going to be a group effort, and in a digital world, it's harder and harder to control.
And regarding the Michelle, and regarding the AI era that we have today, do we have right now like legal frame for the narrator, for example, to give their IP voice for?
So that's another thing that is on the horizon because, you know, artificial intelligence, and we talk about, we call it AI, but we haven't really decided on a term. Is it virtual voice? Is it, you know, machine learning? There's all different types of AI. So in a world where you want to make sure everything is equitable, you want to have an audio version of your title. Now, some of those are going to be done with a machine. The question becomes, as a narrator, do I want to license my voice and have it be working for me on these titles that I wouldn't necessarily be paid for if I was reading it myself? So that's a question that each narrator has to answer. We have the union, the Screen Actors Guild Union in the US that is looking into that. The Actors in Film and Television struck last fall, and all of those things are impacting what's happening. But every single day, someone texts me a audio file and says, hey, who do you think this sounds like? And it always sounds like that person. And so we know that their voices are being scraped. Now, we are not a union, so we have some limits on what we can do. But that's why we are trying to educate our members and make them aware of what's happening and be pushing for things like metadata. So if you as a publisher choose to use a virtual voice, which you absolutely may do, marking that in some way so that the consumer is aware this is a virtual voice. And there's not a standard for that yet. So those are the conversations that we're having now. But these are big, big concerns. And certainly if I was a narrator, I would be nervous.
Well, do you see the AI will advance the audiobook industry in next years?
It's interesting because when people talk about AI and audio, they immediately think of narration. As a pure play audiobook publisher, we're 100% committed to the human voice. We think that provides the best experience. And with regards to AI, the consideration is all the way back through the production process. So not narration, but thinking about how you're proofing a recording, how you're putting together the metadata, how you're creating some of the marketing assets. I was listening earlier today to a conversation around translation as well and how AI can facilitate translation. So I think, yes, AI is going to impact audio in the same way it's going to impact publishing and the wider world, but it's not focused on the actual narration piece. It's how we actually pull together the whole package and deliver to the consumer.
Back to the technology part as well, Mr. Troy, about the...
Can I just comment on the
Yes,
AI
please,
thing, please? Because I think in the Arab world, we don't yet have this problem as much as it is in the English world, and this is not something good, because one day there will be the right regulations and everything, but we don't have yet for the Arabic language enough research and enough budget and enough investments done in the technology and AI to allow it to reach the level where we have good outcome that's coming out of the AI that's useful, that's industry level. And our problem, like in the US, in the UK, is not simply, but I mean our real problem is how to regulate this and how to make sure that it's used fairly and like everyone else. But the problem in the Arab world is that we're not spending, and I don't mean the industry of neither the technology industry nor the publishing industries. I think it's more of the role of the R&D, the universities, the technological centers, the organizations like the ones that we have here in the fair, to really allocate some budget to allow the Arabic language to be advanced, to be able to reach the same level where the English and French and other languages have reached in the AI. And then we can always, of course, learn from the regulations on how to best use these tools. But not being able to use these tools makes us really behind this. And will it make a difference? Yes, definitely it will. And I'm sure the industries will find the right, and the governments, the right regulations. But technologically, we're, in my opinion, really lagging when it comes to AI for the Arabic language.
Regarding the AI in the narration, but if we talk about AI in the user preferences and the recommendation, especially in the region, only Crowley right now is tech app is specialized in audiobooks. Do you see the AI help as well in the recommendation and
Yeah.
preferences and so on?
Yeah, on this side of the AI, where you do like recommender systems and recommender and algorithms that simply make use of the fact that audiobook subscribers are at the end using a digital services, so you know what exactly your customers are using, which books, for example, they finish to the end. I mean, when you sell the print book, you know that you sold the version, but you really don't know if the reader finished it to the end, where did they stop, and stuff like this. Of course, on the digital, you have all this data. You have what they call the menu mix or the menu engineering, which books do the different customers choose together. So if I read a politics book, what else am I most likely going to read? And all the stuff that we see very well done on platforms like Netflix and stuff like this. For this, the Arabic is no different from any other. It's a digital system. You can get all this data, and it depends on how, I would say, smart you are with technology to be able to use this data for the benefit of the end user and, of course, of the business. So there is no problem in this. But on the other sides, yes.
Thank you. Rizka, do you have any audiobooks that recorded as AI in Yoto catalog?
No, we don't.
Okay.
For the reasons that Miles and Michelle were sort of alluding to, we are more interested in what AI can bring us in terms of productivity tools at the moment in our business, which, you know, the opportunities are immense there. We are very conscious as a children's focused platform that there might be some anxiety or nervousness from parents around experimenting with digital narration. So we're being quite cautious there. And also, to be frank, I think the quality is not as we would want it for, as well, you know, for any listener, but for a child especially, the level of sort of animation and expression in the voices just doesn't compare to a human narrator. So I think we're quite a long way off reaching a point where we would be putting out AI narrated titles. We have experimented with AI story creation, but again, I think the results have been mixed at best. So yeah, we're quite comfortable sort of leaning into the opportunities AI is creating for us on the production side. You know, translation tools, productivity tools across the business is our sort of preferred approach for now.
I have started work here in the Arabic market like 2016, and the common question and traditional question from most of the industry stakeholders was the competition between paperback and between audiobooks. So I need to know all your feedbacks about this question. Start with Michelle. Yeah.
It makes me laugh. Everyone always wants to say that the audio format will cannibalize print, but we've not seen that. What we see is there are a portion of listeners, both retail buyers and people that take audiobooks out of the library, that only do audio. So if you're not making your title available in audio, you are missing a portion of the market. We also see a lot of people buying to listen and read with their eyes, both the ebook and the audio, or the print and the audio. So what we've seen is that in supporting your author brand and your intellectual property, doing all of the formats actually helps rise the tide of everything. So despite what everyone tries to say, it doesn't cannibalize.
Ditto. All of our experience in all of our markets has been the same. And obviously, just as an audiobook publisher, we would say that, wouldn't we? However, we wouldn't be able to buy rights if that was a real issue. And really what's demonstrated time and again is the introduction of new audiences. You talk to any of the platforms and they'll talk about the male population over-indexing in terms of listeners, a younger male population over-indexing. So it's really an opportunity just to expand the coverage that you actually have in terms of your content consumption.
Yeah, frankly, I totally agree. And also from our experience, we think they're totally two different animals, if we say. I mean, just think of a movie and the book. There's no way that you can say that the movie cannibalizes the book, but most probably no. It makes more people want to read the book. And we saw this firsthand whenever we have a book that was always there, and then there is a movie that went out in Egypt or in the Arab world based on this book. You find everyone wanting to listen to the book to get the real sense of what the book had to say. And I assume also they would also like to buy it. So, and again, the way to consume the product in reading books and touching it with your hands and stuff like this is totally different from audiobooks that you acquire the knowledge with your ears while you could be doing something else, or most probably you'd be driving, doing something else. So it's totally different. So I don't think there is a cannibalization there.
I'm going to just repeat lots of the points that have already been made, but I think two sort of specific things about our platform, especially. I'm not going to take full credit for this, but we've seen certainly in the markets where we're quite established now that actually investment from publishers in their children's program has actually gone up in their children's audio programs, because there is a dedicated platform for children's audio. With Yoto and other competitors. So we're actually seeing that some of our partners are able to choose to invest in an audiobook production at the time of publication of the print book, because they know that there are platforms that they can access the audience through. And the other thing, which Michelle again touched on, it's a long-established thing that children love to read along. So, book and CD was obviously a hugely popular format many years ago. We are really seeing our customers asking us, we've got the audio card, we want the book as well, or vice versa. They've got the book, they want the audio card to read along. So we don't abridge. It's the pure text that the audiobooks are derived from. So actually, the harmony between the two, between the print edition and the audiobook edition, is really compelling in the children's market.
Yeah, regarding to start with, regarding the audio first miles application, I think RP Media has some experience in audio first, like original audio. So can you give us like feedback from the audience, or some of them be paperback after the audio first or not?
Yeah, audio first is it's been around for a little while now, and obviously some of the platforms have created audio originals themselves as a point of difference. We've tried it with various things. It's been a little hit and miss, if I'm honest. You need a big brand really to carry it through, because as in any publishing, starting off with a new author or a new concept creates quite a lot of marketing effort. But I think as the markets grow, it's going to become more and more of an opportunity, and also production of variations. So one part of our business that we've seen really good growth with is multicast versions of titles. So we've done Sarah J. Maas titles both as a single narration, and then also done a dramatized version of it in audio, which is sold just as well. They haven't cannibalized each other at all. They've sold brilliantly alongside each other. So audio first and doing variations on things, I think, is just going to grow and expand as the markets develop.
Thank you. From my experience, some project be like a special project for the audio publisher. Recently, we found some special projects that comes from the audio player in the region, like Raleigh or Storytel and other. So, Mr. Tariq, could you please give us example about how is the special production for certain audiobook can take the audiobook, advance the audiobook reach for the new reader, for example?
Yeah, so from our experience, which is not huge, but the way we think best use of the drama production of the book, I would say, where we have I mean, the last book that we did, we have around 50 narrators working on it, so it was like a full drama production, is that it attracts new users. It attracts even the current users to listen and try this different experience, but it cannot be the mainstream. At the end, what we believe or what we see is that at the end, the users would like to, or the listeners would like to leave their own imagination to think about if he's yelling, for example, how would this yelling sound like if there is something in the background? The least interference maybe is the better. But you can always have a big production every now and then to attract more users and even to attract the other users to something different.
And recently I see some projects that cooperate with Iqrali and Shroq Publishing and for the Ahmad Murad bestseller. So do you have some insights that how that performed well, better than the H?
Yeah, it performed very well because again, it's a big production. It was a very big production, and of course, for a great author, maybe I mean one of the best, if not the best in Egypt, and so it performed very well in terms of first-time users. It was like 3 times or 4 times the normal in such events when we introduce new books. And the amount of minutes that were consumed were very high. Even the ratio of book completion was like 2 or 3 times the average. So it went very well. But I mean, this is the type of thing that we're talking about. So you take a really hit book and you do all this production about it, and then you really get some results in terms of sales, in terms of minutes listens and stuff like this.
Thank you. Michelle, back again to the association and the negotiation between the publisher and now talking about the royalties, if I distributor or the publishers. So what is the common rate of royalties right now in the market?
Well, the market has changed. In the US, we started selling on something called a credit model. So you would sell 1 book a month for about $15. And this was great for the publishers, for the retailers, but the consumers have been telling us, as we've been doing surveys with them, that they would like an easier model where they could go, like you go to Netflix and find a lot of different things. And consumers tell us they want to be able to find audiobooks where they find other audio products. So Spotify entering the market has brought people who are listening to music and to podcasts and put everything together in one app. And other retailers have tried this, but now the US publishers are participating on not an unlimited model, but a 15 hours per month model. And the idea is that this will introduce people who would not go and buy an audiobook, but who are already subscribing to an app to try something. So we don't have good data on that yet. It started in late 2023, and we won't collect the 2024 data until this time next year. So I don't think we'll have a full sense of the impact on the market until 2025. But it is a challenge because it changes the business model a bit. And it is an opportunity because it can potentially bring new listeners to the format. So we are cautiously optimistic, is what I consistently say.
Good. Miles, here, within the rise of streaming platform like Spotify, like Michelle mentioned, how do you expect the future of audiobook distribution while most of the publisher preferred la carte model or la transaction model?
Well, first and foremost, as I said earlier, the retailers historically have made the market, so more activity in the market is going to expand the market. And early indications are that certainly Spotify's activity is expanding the market. There's not a sort of trading of consumption between vendors. It's just an overall growth in terms of the market. There's obviously the big economic question in terms of how the publishers actually get rewarded through a capped service or an all-you-can-eat service. And over time, that will get worked out. You know, publishers need to actually generate good returns for their authors and their publishing partners, and I'm sure that's going to come, and we'll just see the ongoing growth of the audiobook market.
And Iqra'li right now is a streaming app. Iqra'li streaming app, subscription-based app.
Yes.
So do you think to shift a model or make hybrid model between the streaming and the transaction model?
Yes, we're considering this, but not due to any problems with the subscription business, but due to opportunities that we might have in reaching markets that we usually did not reach, or distribution channels where we can use our assets and our partners' assets to reach more consumers. And this would be the best way to reach them. So to us, it's like an opportunistic approach to reach more users and make more money using the current assets, rather than a shift from the subscription business, which we believe at the end everybody is going to be following the Spotify model and stuff like this.
And your model at UTAT is only the current model. يعني,
Yeah, I suppose because we have a physical product, it would be prohibitive for us to offer that unlimited. Yeah, we're very comfortable with, and our partners are as well, our a la carte sort of one title and royalty-based model based on the sale of our physical cards. That said, and sort of bringing it back to your point about audio production, we are investing in an originals program as well, filling gaps on our list with audio that we create in-house. And again, listening to our customers and understanding the sort of the other the competitive landscape in terms of, attention for children. So, Netflix and all the other streaming platforms, we are going to be introducing a digital-only subscription audio service with our own original content. We're going to be launching that later in the summer. This is going to be a new thing for us, so that's why we're using our own IP. But there will always be a way for the parent to connect it back to something physical, because we produce make your own cards, which is kind of like our blank cassette format. So parents can choose to link content in our app, digital content in our app, to these blank cards and still give their children the physical experience. But yeah, we're cognizant of the kind of opportunities, but also, that our platform fundamentally is built around a physical interface.
A question about the foreign direct investment that happened in the Arabic language in last 7 years, that comes by Kitab Sawti in the beginning, then followed by Storytel, and suddenly this foreign direct investment, it is not exist anymore. How do you see, Mr. Tariq, this withdraws the investment positively or negatively impact the market?
Yeah, actually, no, we see it as an opportunity, because when we started investing heavily in Iqra'li, all the big players were either here in the region, or coming to the region in the next book fair or stuff like this. And we saw that the market is very big, is huge, it can accommodate all this, and all this was healthy. So even when the some of the big players like Storytel a little bit withdrew from the region, it was not because of problem in the region or in the logic. It was mainly due to the economic crisis that happened worldwide, and everyone wanted to focus more on their profitable business, on their core markets and stuff like this. So frankly, to us as Iqra'li, as a regional player that focuses on Arabic, we saw it as a great opportunity for us to take our time a little bit without huge competition, to organize our internal house and to make expansions, and to be present in like what we're doing right now on solid grounds, without a rush, without a huge competition. And we're quite sure that soon, and soon is maybe in a year or 2 or 3, all these big players will come back again, because the real growth is here in this region. So once the economic crisis is out and people return back to looking for growth and investment, they'll come back, and we hope by then that we're much stronger than what we were like a few years ago when we started this.
Mr. Miles, regarding the RP Media as the largest audiobook publisher in the world, do you see any challenge in the Arabic language to invest and start to expanding? What is the challenge you see in the market right now?
I think on a micro level, there are many challenges in terms of starting off in a new language, but really it's just a question of when. I think for us as an organization, we're looking at a whole range of different languages. The Arabic language and this area is reasonably high up that list in terms of likelihood of happening. And as my colleague has mentioned, whether it's 1, 2, 3 years' time, the market will be at a point, I think, where there will be a lot more investment coming into it. It's too attractive an audience for many people to ignore it for very long.
Yeah, the time is running faster now, and we can open the question. Okay.
Thank you very much. I'm Sharif Bakr, publisher from Egypt. I want to go back to the question of cannibalization, which I asked this question, I don't know in how many book fairs, from Limassol to Frankfurt to, I don't know, we were just also in Colombia, Bogota, but the same answer always get, that cannibalization doesn't happen with digital in general, whether ebooks or audiobooks. But I think also, and maybe Ahmed and Ali would second me or think about this, the Arab world is always different. I mean, we have all the international rules break here. So for instance, when the dollar price decrease, the prices increase still. It doesn't work like any other place. I myself personally, I wait for many books now. I don't buy them, and I wait for them if they are going to be on Iqra'li, for instance, and I listen to them. So I know many friends of mine with digital, like Abjad, the ebook app. They wait. If the book is there, they don't. With the pricing competition, or the prices now increasing extremely high for real readers, and the lack of libraries in the Arab world, so readers now, it's cheaper to subscribe for an app which costs almost a book or 2 books a month, and if they read more, then they find it, they save money, they can afford this, and they only have to buy the books that they are not available on the apps. We saw it sometimes at the book fair, they come and they check the books, and then they check the app, and they decide based on that. So it's a big problem for us as a publishing house, and I think for many in negotiation now with platforms, especially ebooks, not audio, because audio did not pick up yet in the Arab world. It's not a threat. And also it proves something, that where everywhere the ebook is going down and the audiobook is going high, in the Arab world it's the other way around. The ebooks are going high and the audiobooks are going down. So I know that internationally it doesn't cannibalize, but don't you think that also we should think local, we should think how it works in the Arab world and with the Arabic language specifically?
Okay. The question was clearly about audiobooks. So the clear answer was, or opinion, was that audiobooks do not cannibalize print books. If the question were, do ebooks cannibalize print books, I believe the answer would have been different.
But maybe because the audiobooks doesn't have a market share to cannibalize, still it's very, very tiny comparing to the whole thing.
I don't think so. I think it's mainly because it's a totally different way of consuming the book or the knowledge in the book, where someone reads it to you rather than you read it either through paper or electronically. But at the end, you read it by yourself, you read it in the same circumstances where you would read a book. It takes exactly the same thing, except that the device is different. So in my opinion, no, this is direct competition. And when there is also a difference in price, then the result is clear.
Well, it was
but
clear
for the
that
audio,
the price,
it's a little bit different.
That the price what pushed people for the app, it was a perfect timing, because suddenly they couldn't afford, and it was like a price of 2 books and you get all what you can eat. So it was a very good opportunity. So I'm saying that it's a bit different.
Which is not the case everywhere in the world.
Yeah, and audio is not still something people like, because many people, the main problem with audio that they get distracted. They
The readers, yes. That's why we're saying the readers or the consumers of the print books or ebooks are different. It's a different segment. Of course, they are common, but there are people who just prefer audio, and there are people who just prefer reading.
Okay, wow.
This
One little question also before I leave. It's just about the reporting that we get from the electronic entities for us. We always say that we integrate, we should work together, and we should like help each other, but actually what we get is just amount of money. Maximum you get some consumption numbers. Not demographically who's reading, where, and especially for us in the Arab world, you know, it makes a difference. If my book is consumed in Saudi Arabia, here, or Cairo, even between cities, it makes a problem. The age group, when do they read, when do they listen, all this. But all the applications or websites, they keep this or they don't have it, I don't know. And they never share it with us. So I don't know if internationally, do they share that kind of reports they have for the publishers?
Different retailers are sharing more and more data. So as the market is growing, we are getting more information and faster information. You know, of course, a retailer wants to hold on to as much as they can, but that definitely has been opening up. And I think it's been extremely useful for me as a publisher, and I'm quite tiny.
Hello and welcome to Abu Dhabi. My name is Huda Tayyib, and I'm English editor and a writer. English is not my native language. But I think I've read so many books during my childhood that helped me in developing English language as fluent as second language. My concern is because I have a 3-year-old son and I would love to buy this Yoto, so my question is from you, Jessica. I have learned a lot of vocabulary, a lot of imagination, a lot of picturesque writing by reading books. Actually, I have learned sentence structure, how the writers create rhythms in the books by reading, not listening. So how are we going to tackle this issue in the new generation who is going to be focused more on audio because that's easier for them? And they are already distracted, we can see that. So how are we going to deal with this issue? Thank you so much.
That's a really great question. I think sort of with echoes of the cannibalization question, like we don't see audio as replacing the value of reading at all. You know, that is something that, especially for children, I think sharing a reading experience with your primary caregiver, a parent, or a loved one is a vital part of childhood. And this is not sort of seeking to sort of replace that or take that experience away at all. There's been a lot of research into the ways that listening to audio actually is far more similar to the act of reading than, for example, watching something or a screen-based kind of type of entertainment. So all the pathways in your brain that are sparked by reading, the imagination, the sort of way that your brain has to create pictures, the stamina involved in reading is very similar in terms of the stamina involved in listening and following along. So from an education point of view, I think it's a really amazing way for children to sort of access, especially in your example of English as a second language. I think it can really enhance that learning process. But it certainly shouldn't replace reading.
But what about the vocabulary? Because children cannot learn the actual spellings or the flow of the sentences. So it's, I know, just one particular part, but you think audiobooks are also going to help students and children and even the youngsters in learning new words, new languages?
Can I jump in?
Yeah, go.
So you can actually read with your ears 2 years ahead of where you can read with your eyes. So it helps comprehension, vocabulary, fluency in language. All of those things are supported by audio. And I have to say, I have a 16-year-old daughter who had to listen to many, many adult audiobooks in the car with me as a baby. And she was reading at a college level in elementary school. And I really credit the fact that I forced her to listen to many, many murder mysteries, which she now enjoys.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for pronunciation as well, if English is a second language, it's great to hear English spoken in a native voice. I think that's a really important thing. And
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I have a similar story about my son. My 3-year-old son talking to me about the Cretaceous period because he'd listened to a dinosaur audiobook. There's no way that he would be accessing that through reading at 3. So I think there's lots of benefits, but not to take away, obviously, from all of the immense or the importance of learning a language through the written word as well.
I'm just going to keep saying it's reading with your eyes and reading with your ears. It's all reading.
And sorry, one last comment. I think the real threat is not coming from audiobooks. It's coming from apps on the mobile for the children.
Thank you for the speakers for the insightful session. My name is Ahmed Bedir. I'm the general manager of Dar al-Shuru. I'm the vice president of the Egyptian Publishers Association, originally digital. And now we try and stay open with, you still call them new media? No? Audio and ebooks, relatively new. I don't know, my question should be to Michelle or to Yani, try to distribute it the way you want. As publishers now with AI, we try and keep our assets owned by the company as much as we can, the assets. So the digital files that we create, books from, paper books from, anything. Ebooks, the original EPUB file is owned by us. But in audio, we try to license that away to trusted partners, including Iqra'li, for example. So with the emergence of AI, now we have a tool that we as publishers can increase our revenue share from platforms to create and own the audio asset. I felt that you guys are not doing that. And although we know that the most expensive investment is in the creation, is in the narration, in the production of the ebook itself. So how come you have that tool? And I feel like you're looking down at it. And I'm not saying it's wrong that you're looking. Maybe it's, should we? Do you advise that publishers do that? You know, use AI, hand you over a finished ebook so that justifiably we increase our revenue share and our business or not? That's the first question. Second comment, I have to second what Sharif said. In new media, I think you should try, and I'm actually addressing you because you have a kind of an organizational regulatory role in the Publishers Association, Audio Publishers Association. Share statistics with us. Being open with publishers, we don't know your realm, we don't know your markets. If you tell us more, we will cooperate more. I claim. And I truly love this gadget. I'd love to see it work. If you can do that, it's not like advertising or anything. This is just thank you.
Well, I will say, I mean, I'm here talking statistics. That's a lot of what I do, is travel around and share the data that we have so that publishers all over the world understand how strong and supportive audio is in their potential market as well. We love to share. Always. Go to our website, it's all there.
Yeah.
The use of AI, I will say from the US perspective, our members are not currently actively creating titles in AI because what we do on a day-to-day basis is make human-voiced audio. We use AI to do post-production and all of these things, and it doesn't mean that publishers won't someday incorporate that, but currently, when we poll our publishers and ask them how many titles they are producing with the virtual voice, the number has been 0. 0. In 2022, it was 0. I don't think it's going to flip to 50-50 anytime soon. And you know, from what we are doing as audio publishers, do I think that publishers that own the print rights as well will start to do some of that? Yes, but we're not there yet. It's just getting to the place where the technology is potentially good enough. And again, our members care about human voice, they care about the performance, and they care about the fact that that's what they've been making revenue on. So changing that to something that is unproven is a very long process. And so far, what we've seen in self-publishing is authors making their own titles in AI. We've tried to do studies to say, what is the consumer response to that? And they don't have enough reviews, which tells us that they haven't sold well enough to really be a significant part of the market yet. All of these things are coming, so we have to educate ourselves and be aware. How big is? So it's about 12, in the US, it's about 12% of the publishing market. We are just about the same as ebooks, and we've had 11 years of double-digit growth. The rest is print, yeah. In the US, yeah, just in the US market. But again, we're a mature market, so, but the thing that I think to hold on to is 11 years of double-digit growth for audio. We just keep growing. So there are 50% of US consumers who've never listened to an audiobook. So there's plenty more room for growth as well. Yes, correct. Yeah. It's 5 years we've basically doubled the percentage of audio in the market.
Another question here, Abbas.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be with you. I will introduce myself. My name is Abbas Abbas, and I'm a visually impaired. And for me, the audiobooks is the ultimate way to access to information. So thank you very much for the industry of audiobooks. And I want to raise a sensitive issue that for me as a social entrepreneur, and I initiated an initiative to produce audiobooks for people with print disabilities, and it started. And I want to know how much you aware of the Marrakesh Treaty, which exempt the permission of the publishers if we access information. This is the first issue that I want to know. The other thing that lately, by the end of 2023, we launched a new app. Yes, we are a new player now in the audiobooks arena, titled Arabcast books, and we want to make a hybrid model to keep the print disabled free of charge and to start connecting with the publishers. So what do you think about this idea to make it free on one hand and to do contracts with the publishers? And I really hope that the space is enough for many, many players. And for us, it's the importance of access of information, especially for the Arab readers in the Arabic world. Thank you.
Nice seeing you again. And I will say, in the US, we have the Library of Congress.
Yes, this is the library which I was accessed when I studied the law at the university.
And so those titles are free. The same ones, recorded books, might be doing a copyrighted version, and the Library of Congress has a free version for the blind and physically handicapped. So that's a model that exists and works well.
And just I want to explain that for us, we would like to have because we produced many, many books, and we would like to do contracts with publishers, and we hope to have this also opportunity for us to try to make subscription for our new app.
Yes, I think if you can keep the audiobooks that already under the countries signed with Marrakesh Agreement, yes, and make it for free, but it needs to deal with a publisher like that on this, and open subscription for the normal users in order to kind of monetize, in order to do the sustained business. I think it will be a good business model for you.
Shukran, Ahmed. Thank you.
Any question? Okay. Okay, thank you all your attend, and thanks for the very good question and the important question. And we have here if anyone have anything else. Well, have a great day. Bye.